Growing fruit trees without a backyard sounds impossible, but it's not. You can grow everything from lemons to avocados right on your patio or balcony. Today, we're counting down 12 easy fruit trees that thrive in containers, starting with number 12 and working our way to the absolute best one. 12. Pomegranates. Most people assume pomegranates need massive orchards to grow properly. Here's what actually happens when you put them in containers. Dwarf varieties like Nana or State Fair have compact root systems that naturally prefer confined spaces. Unlike other fruit trees that want to spread out everywhere, pomegranates settle into a 15 to 20 gallon container, quite happily. The best part about growing pomegranates is their forgiving nature. You can forget to water them for a few days and they bounce right back. They're drought tolerant once established, which makes them perfect if you're still learning how to care for container plants. Each tree produces around 15 to 30 fruits per season, once it matures, and those deep red arils taste infinitely better than anything you'd find at a grocery store. Getting started costs almost nothing if you're resourceful. Food-grade buckets from restaurants or bakeries work perfectly, and most places give them away free if you just ask. The trees themselves run about $25 to $40 depending on size. Fresh pomegranates at stores cost around $3 to $5 each, so your tree pays for itself after one good harvest season. Their natural resilience means you won't spend hours babying them. They handle heat well, don't need constant attention, and actually produce better fruit when slightly stressed. Just place them in full sun, water when the top few inches of soil dry out, and feed them monthly during growing season with a balanced fertilizer. That's really all it takes to get consistent harvest year after year from a tree sitting right on your patio. 11. Watermelons. You're probably thinking watermelons need huge garden plots with vines running everywhere. That used to be true until the sugar baby bush variety changed everything. This compact watermelon grows vines only 3 feet long, which means it fits perfectly in containers without taking over your entire outdoor space. Each plant produces 2 to 3 melons weighing up to 10 pounds each. You'll need a container that holds 7 to 10 gallons of soil per plant, and the key is using rich, well-draining soil. Watermelons are heavy feeders, so they need regular fertilizing throughout the growing season. Use a low nitrogen, high phosphorus fertilizer, because too much nitrogen pushes vine growth instead of fruit production. The timeline from planting to harvest runs about 80 days, which is surprisingly fast for such a rewarding crop. Seeds cost less than $5 per packet, and containers in this size range around $15 to $25. Compare that to buying organic watermelons at $6 to $8 each at the store, and you're saving money while getting better flavor. Here's what makes container watermelons work so well. You control the soil quality completely, which matters because watermelons are picky about drainage. You can move them to follow the sun throughout the day if needed. And when you're growing vertically challenged varieties like sugar baby bush, you avoid the sprawling mess that traditional watermelons create. Plant them after your last frost date, keep the soil consistently moist but not waterlogged, and make sure they get at least 6 hours of direct sunlight daily. The melons will tell you when they're ready because the tendril nearest the fruit will turn brown and dry. 10. Pineapple. Growing your own pineapple seems like something only tropical gardeners can do. Actually, pineapples adapt beautifully to container life almost anywhere. You can start one from the crown of a store-bought pineapple, which makes this one of the cheapest fruit projects you'll ever try. Just twist off the crown, let it dry for a day, and plant it in well-draining soil. The catch is patience because pineapples take 18 to 24 months to produce fruit, but they require surprisingly little space compared to other fruit crops on this list. A 3 to 7 gallon container works perfectly, and the plants themselves stay compact and manageable. During summer months, keep them outdoors in full sun. When temperatures drop, move them to a sunny window indoors and they'll coast through winter just fine. Pineapple plants cost around $15 to $30 if you buy them already started, or essentially free if you're growing from a grocery store crown. Store-bought pineapples run $3 to $5 each, so even one successful fruit makes the whole project worthwhile. The plants also look gorgeous with their spiky foliage, adding a tropical vibe to any space. Care requirements stay simple throughout the growing period. Use acidic soil with a pH between 4.5 and 6.5, water when the top inch of soil dries out, and feed monthly with a balanced fertilizer. The plants tolerate some neglect better than you'd expect. They're built to handle dry conditions in their native habitat, so occasional missed waterings won't destroy your crop. Just give them bright light and warmth and they'll reward you with sweet homegrown pineapples. 9. Dwarf peaches. Stone fruits have a reputation for being difficult, but dwarf peaches flip that narrative completely. Varieties like Pixie and Bonanza were specifically bred for container life, and they produce full-size peaches that taste better than anything you'll find shipped to stores. These trees stay around 5 to 6 feet tall, and they're self-pollinating, which means you only need one tree to get fruit. The timeline from planting to first harvest runs about 1 to 2 years. You'll need a large container, at least 20 to 25 gallons, because peach trees develop substantial root systems even in their dwarf forms. The investment pays off quickly though. One tree produces 20 to 40 peaches per season, and organic peaches at stores cost around $3 to $4 per pound. Your tree-ripened peaches will taste dramatically better because they actually ripen on the branch instead of in a shipping truck. Container growing gives you advantages that ground-planted peach trees never get. You can protect them from late spring frosts by moving them temporarily. You can net them easily if birds become a problem, and you can control their environment precisely, which matters because peaches can be sensitive to soil conditions. Here's the trick that makes the biggest difference in your harvest. When baby fruits start forming, remove about half of them. This sounds counterintuitive, but it works, because thinning makes the remaining peaches bigger, sweeter, and prevents branches from breaking under too much weight. Space them so fruits are about 6 inches apart. Give them full sun, water deeply when the top 2 inches of soil dry out, and feed monthly during growing season. 8. Figs. Figs actually prefer being slightly root-bound, which makes them naturally perfect for containers. When you restrict their roots a bit, they respond by producing more fruit earlier in the season. Varieties, like Little Miss Figgy and Chicago Hardy, were developed specifically for pot culture, and a single container fig can produce over 100 fruits in one season. The fruiting timeline is impressively fast at 1 to 2 years from planting. Start with a 5-gallon pot and gradually move up to 15 to 20 gallons as the tree grows. Fig trees cost around $30 to $50 depending on size and variety. Fresh figs at stores, when you can even find good ones, run $6 to $8 for a tiny container. Your potted fig tree produces fruit that makes those store-bought ones taste like cardboard. What makes figs special for container growing is their resilience. They fruit on new growth, so even if you're in a colder climate and the tree dies back in winter, it'll come back and still give you fruit the same year. Most fruit trees can't do that. They also handle a wide range of conditions and forgive occasional mistakes in care. During winter, figs go dormant and drop their leaves. Don't panic when this happens because it's completely normal. They'll leaf out again in spring. Here's a trick that concentrates the sugars and makes your figs taste incredible. Let the tree dry out slightly between waterings during fruiting season. This mild stress signals the plant to focus energy on fruit quality. Just give them full sun, well-draining soil, and monthly feeding during active growth. 7. Meyer lemons. Everyone talks about Meyer lemons in pots, but here's why they actually work so well. These trees are naturally semi-dwarf and they're ever-bearing, which means you can have flowers, young fruit, and ripe fruit all on the same tree simultaneously. It's like having a grocery store sitting on your patio. One established tree produces 50 to 100 lemons per year. Timeline to first fruit runs about 1 to 3 years depending on the size you start with. Use a 15 to 20 gallon container with excellent drainage. Meyer lemon trees cost $40 to $80 depending on maturity. Store lemons run about $0.50 to $1 each, so your tree pays for itself within 2 seasons while producing superior fruit. They're also more cold tolerant than other lemon varieties, which extends where you can successfully grow them. Container growing gives you control that ground-planted citrus never gets. Too cold? Bring it inside near a sunny window. Pests showing up? You can isolate and treat one container easily. Soil issues? You chose exactly what went in that pot from the start. This flexibility means people in climates that technically can't grow citrus are successfully growing it anyway. Skip expensive citrus fertilizers because they're not necessary. A good balanced organic fertilizer works perfectly. Feed every 2 weeks during growing season and monthly in winter. Give them at least 6 hours of direct sunlight daily. If you can't provide that naturally, supplement with a grow light to keep production strong. Drop a comment below and tell me, would you rather grow fast-fruiting trees like figs, or go for long-term producers like citrus that keep giving for decades? 6. Blueberries. Blueberries are picky about one specific thing, and most people mess them up because they don't understand it. These plants need acidic soil with a pH between 4.5 and 5.5. Regular potting mix won't work, but here's the advantage of containers. You have complete control over soil conditions. Mix your potting soil with peat moss, or use an azalea and rhododendron mix, and suddenly you're growing blueberries better than commercial farms. Varieties like Top Hat or Peach Sorbet stay under 3 feet tall, and they're gorgeous with spring blooms, summer fruits, and ruby red fall colour. A single mature blueberry bush produces 3 to 5 pounds of berries per season. Organic blueberries at stores cost $5 to $7 per pound, which means one plant pays for itself in the first year. Plants cost around $20 to $35 depending on size. The beauty of container blueberries goes beyond just controlling pH. You can move them wherever they need to be. If they need more sun, roll them over. If a late frost is coming, bring them closer to the house. If you need to adjust the soil, you're working with a container, instead of trying to amend an entire garden bed. Start with a 5-gallon container and move up to 10 to 15 gallons as the plant matures. Blueberries need consistent moisture because peat moss can be challenging to re-wet after it dries completely. Water regularly and mulch the top of the soil to help retain moisture. Feed with an acidic fertilizer formulated for blueberries or azaleas monthly during the growing season. They prefer full sun but tolerate partial shade in hotter climates. 5. Dwarf bananas. Bananas aren't technically trees, but they produce fruit like crazy, which is why they deserve this spot. Varieties like Dwarf Cavendish or Super Dwarf produce full-size bananas in containers, and they do it faster than almost any other fruit on this list. You're looking at fruit within 9 to 18 months, and then it keeps coming. A single banana plant can give you 50 to 100 bananas in one harvest cycle. Organic bananas cost around $0.70 to $1 per pound, and a single bunch from your plant might weigh 20 to 40 pounds. You'll need to go big with containers though, at least 25 gallons, because bananas are heavy feeders with substantial root systems. Plants cost $25 to $50 depending on size. Here's what makes bananas perfect for containers. You can give them exactly what they need: rich soil, consistent water, and warmth. They're tropical plants, so in colder climates you bring them inside during winter where they go semi-dormant, then back outside when it warms up. The container makes this mobility possible. After the main stem fruits it dies back naturally. Don't worry because it sends up new shoots called pups. You can pot these up and suddenly you have more banana plants to keep, give away, or even sell. Banana plants are in high demand. Care stays straightforward throughout their life. Use compost or high-potassium fertilizer monthly. Chop off old leaves and use them as mulch around the base to feed the plant. Keep the soil consistently moist but not waterlogged. Give them full sun and warmth and they'll reward you generously. 4. Avocados. Avocados take patience, but here's why they're worth it. Dwarf varieties like Wurtz or Little Cardo will absolutely fruit in containers, and when they do, you're getting avocados that cost $2 to $3 each at the store. One tree produces 20 to 30 avocados per year once it matures. The timeline runs about 2 to 4 years before significant fruiting. But think about it this way. You're either planting that tree now or buying avocados forever. Container size matters significantly with avocados. Go straight to 25 gallons because these trees need room to develop properly. Trees cost $50 to $80 for grafted varieties. The dwarf varieties are self-pollinating, which means you don't need 2 trees. You need one good tree, the right conditions, and patience. What makes avocados number 4 on this list is the long-term payoff. When your tree starts producing, you're getting organic avocados perfectly ripe at zero cost for decades. A container avocado tree can live and produce for 20 plus years. Even at conservative estimates, you're looking at thousands of dollars worth of avocados over the life of one tree. The secret with container avocados is drainage and patience. Use a well-draining mix with plenty of perlite or pine bark. Don't overwater because avocados hate wet feet. Check the soil before watering and only water when the top few inches are dry. Because they're in containers, you can bring them inside during cold snaps if you're in a marginal climate. That flexibility means people, in zones that technically can't grow avocados, are successfully growing them anyway. 3. Mulberries. Mulberries are one of the most overachieving plants you can grow in containers. Varieties like ever-bearing Dwarf or Thai mulberry produce multiple harvests in just 1 year, and they taste like blackberries with a sweetness that's hard to describe. The timeline from planting to fruit runs about 6 to 12 months, and sometimes even sooner if you start with a mature plant. These trees stay small enough for containers while still giving you a big harvest. Start them in at least 5 to 7 gallon pots and gradually move them to 10 to 15 gallons as they grow. Trees cost around $25 to $40 depending on size. Fresh mulberries rarely appear in stores because they're too delicate to ship, but when you do find them, they cost $8 to $12 per pound. Your container tree produces pounds of fruit throughout the season. Here's one of the coolest things about mulberries. You can clip branches and regrow them in pots without buying a new tree. This means you can propagate your own plants essentially free after your initial purchase. Just take cuttings, stick them in moist soil, and they'll root within a few weeks. Birds love mulberries as much as you will, but containers give you an advantage. You can keep them in a screened area or easily throw netting over them. Try doing that with a 15-foot tree in your yard. They're self-pollinating and low maintenance, requiring minimal fuss once established. Use well-draining soil mixed with perlite or pine bark, water when the top inch dries out, and feed monthly during growing season. That's all it takes for continuous harvests. 2. Strawberries. Strawberries aren't trees, but they deserve this high spot because they're absolute productivity machines in containers. Ever-bearing varieties produce fruit from late spring through fall, giving you fresh berries almost daily during peak season. One properly maintained container with 6 to 8 plants will give you pounds and pounds of fruit from something that takes up less space than a standard pot. The timeline is incredibly fast. You're looking at 8 to 12 weeks from planting to first harvest. Plants cost $3 to $5 each, making this one of the cheapest entries on this list. Store-bought strawberries run $5 to $7 per pound, and they're picked underripe to survive shipping. Your container strawberries are bred for taste, picked at perfect ripeness, and eaten within minutes. The flavor difference is so dramatic that store-bought ones become almost insulting once you've had homegrown. What makes strawberries brilliant for containers is their flexibility and succession. You can stack containers vertically, use hanging baskets, or create strawberry towers. The space efficiency is unmatched. As old plants age out, you replace them with runners from your best producers. It's a self-sustaining system that costs almost nothing after initial setup. Start with containers that hold at least 3 to 5 gallons total. Use well-draining soil and keep it consistently moist but not waterlogged. Feed every 2 weeks during fruiting with a balanced fertilizer. Snip off early season runners to encourage plants to direct energy into fruit production instead of making babies. Give them at least 6 hours of sun daily, and they'll reward you with baskets of sweet berries all season long. 1. Columnar apples. Columnar apples grow like something out of science fiction. These trees grow straight up with barely any side branches, maxing out at about 8 to 10 feet tall but only 2 feet wide. Varieties like North Pole or Golden Sentinel produce full-sized apples on a tree that takes up the same space as a small shrub. You can fit 3 or 4 of these on a small balcony and have fresh apples from late summer through fall. Each tree produces about 15 to 25 apples per season, and we're talking crisp, juicy, real apples. Timeline to fruiting runs about 2 to 3 years from planting. Trees cost $40 to $60 depending on size. Organic apples at stores run $3 to $4 per pound, and your columnar apple tree saves you real money over months because apples store well. Pick them in September and October, store them in a cool spot, and you're eating fresh apples through December or even January. Container size needs to be substantial at 20 to 25 gallons, because even though these trees grow narrow, they still need root depth. Here's the catch: you need to plant at least 2 varieties for cross-pollination. If you have just one, you may not get fruit. They do well in groups, so 2 to 3 trees ensure you get consistent harvests. Container apples are easier to keep pest-free because you can inspect every inch quickly. You catch problems early before they become disasters. Give them full sun, water deeply when the top few inches of soil dry out, and feed monthly during growing season with balanced fertilizer. The secret that makes all these container trees work better is something most people overlook: mulch. Put 2 to 3 inches of wood chips on top of your soil to regulate temperature, retain moisture, and slowly feed your trees. Hey guys, Arthur here. If you found value in this video, YouTube, thinks you'll like this next one too.